That's the big question tonight. Will the Prime Minister be forced to quit? Will there be early elections? Will this change the way politics unfolds in Pakistan forever? On the program today, as Pakistan stands on the brink, we're asking whether this is about corruption or whether this is a test case for democracy. You can tweet us through the program. We'll be running the best tweets through the course of the debate. Let's get started now with our panel. We're going to try and bring you in different voices across the political spectrum here in Pakistan. Let's start by introducing the guests we have right now. Joining us from Lahore tonight is Kamran Shafi. He's an outspoken commentator and columnist with the Express Tribune. Also joining us from Delhi tonight, because we know that India is watching this space very, very carefully, is former Foreign Secretary Kanwal Sibal. Let me start with you, Kamran Shafi, if I may. This seems to be a rather contradictory picture. On the one hand, you have the Prime Minister of this country getting a contempt of court notice from the Supreme Court, which wants this government to reopen corruption cases against President Asif Ali Zardari. On the other hand, you have this government trying to seek a trust vote on a democracy resolution, arguing that Parliament is supreme. Would you agree that it's fair at this moment to describe Pakistan as a country where its three major institutions, the Parliament, the judiciary and the military, are locked in some kind of bitter battle? Kamran.
Yes, Barkha, I would agree with that statement. But what we have to understand is, and what one has said repeatedly and over many, many years, is that democracy has to be practiced to be run in Pakistan. It's never been allowed to run, if you see what I mean. No government has been allowed to complete its tenure of governance, as indeed we can see now the moves that are happening. So yes, I would certainly agree with your statement on that one.
Kamran, if I may give you a counter view, the counter view that is coming from several opposition parties, including Imran Khan's party and Nawaz Sharif's party, as well as several people here that we've met on the streets of Pakistan. And their counter view is that this is not about democracy, it's about corruption. And this is the Supreme Court, not the military, that's asking the government to obey the verdict of the Supreme Court. So why is the government here making it about democracy? How would you respond to that?
Well, to say that the government should have responded to the Supreme Court's orders on the NRO, I would agree absolutely. It should have responded. But I'm talking of the other hidden players in this Barkha. Of course, the government should have written a letter to the Swiss authorities, where apparently many lawyers and people with legal knowledge say that the president does have immunity. But this NRO thing is a little deeper than that. We have to understand that if the NRO wasn't there, there wouldn't be politics in Pakistan today. Perhaps we'd have Musharraf sitting on our heads even now. So there's so much to this really. There's no simple answer.
That's interesting. You're saying that the National Reconciliation Ordinance is misunderstood in many narratives. I just want to explain to our viewers, especially those watching back home in India, before I go across to Kanwal Sibal, what the controversy is about. Basically, in 2007, the National Reconciliation Ordinance was signed. Under that, a number of old corruption cases were closed and amnesty was granted to several political leaders, including the current president. However, in 2009, this country's Supreme Court reversed that, and it wants the government now to write a letter to Swiss authorities reopening an old money laundering case against the president. The government is refusing to do that. Before we get other voices from across the political spectrum of Pakistan, let me get a sense from New Delhi. Mr. Kanwal Sibal, ironically, we have an Indian parliamentary delegation actually arriving in Pakistan today as there is deep uncertainty over whether this is a government that can now survive. If it survives, for how long can it survive? What is the view, Mr. Sibal, from New Delhi today? What is your perspective as you watch three major institutions, the parliament, the military, and in this case, the judiciary as well, locked in a bitter battle?
You know, we must, of course, accept that this is an internal affair of Pakistan. And the whole issue is extremely complex, legally and politically. and therefore it is most advisable, at least at the official and government level, not to get involved in debates on this issue. However, outside the government, as analysts and those who are watching developments in Pakistan, one can have a view. And that view may not necessarily be the correct view, because we are not aware of the full complexities, legal and other, of the issue. But generally speaking, one can say a few things. Firstly, that the Chief Justice of Pakistan is a highly political personality. His record is clear on this account. Number two, that it's an odd situation where the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court of Pakistan is telling the Prime Minister of Pakistan to write a letter to the Swiss authorities to find out evidence against the President of Pakistan. Now, what do you expect the Prime Minister to do? After all, Prime Minister is the government, President is the head of state, and they all belong to one party. Should he go and then do exactly what the Chief Justice is saying and find incriminating evidence against his own president, and therefore run the risk of the collapse of his government? There is something inherently very unreal in this. And I'm sure the Chief Justice of Pakistan understands this. So obviously, beyond the legal question, there is a political motivation. There is clearly a desire under the cloak of legality and some kind of a constitutional process to make this government accountable and hasten its downfall. Now, this suits many other elements in the polity in Pakistan. It suits, of course, Nawaz Sharif. Certainly, it suits Imran Khan, who wants to call for early elections. It suits definitely the armed forces of Pakistan, General Gilani and others, who have for long wanted the ouster of President Zardari.
NDTV's cricket app, Android and iPhone, fastest scorecard, special analysis, and much more. Download free. ndtv.com/apps.